Fanning the flames from 40 years ago, dozens of people are killed in Bangladesh during violent protests over a war crimes tribunal. Opposition leaders are sentenced to hang for crimes stemming from the country's bloody war of independence. A burning issue dividing the nation. This is Inside Story. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton. Welcome to the programme. Days of rioting, soldiers on the streets, calls for a national strike, and a death toll rising. A war crimes tribunal in Bangladesh is stirring painful memories of the country's split from Pakistan back in 1971, of rape and torture, and the murder of anywhere up to 3 million people. It is a dark chapter that has never been fully addressed. Members of the opposition Jamaat-i-Islami are on trial and facing the death sentence. The party had campaigned against independence but denied committing any atrocities. So why is this trial taking place now? And what are the motives for trying to right the historical wrongs? For Inside Story, Jane Ferguson reports. Bangladesh's 1971 civil war was the climax of tensions between Bangladeshi nationalists and the Pakistani army. It was 9 months of attacks and guerrilla warfare. Eventually, the Indian army intervened on the side of Bangladeshi nationalists, and the war ended with independence. But by then, atrocities had been committed. Bangladesh says 3 million people were killed. Pakistan puts that number much lower. At the time, the international community had little appetite for intervention. US President Nixon was focused on the Cold War and saw Pakistan as an important ally. Initially a part of Pakistan when it broke away from India in 1947, Bangladesh was known as East Pakistan. Over the 4 decades since the 1971 war, victims of crimes such as mass murder, rape and torture have never had justice. Turbulent politics and military coups always seemed to get in the way. But when the Awami League, headed by Sheikh Hasina, won the 2008 national elections, setting up a war crimes tribunal was a large part of their campaign. Set up in 2010, the tribunal is trying 12 men for crimes against humanity. They are, however, mostly from the Islamic party Jamaat-i-Islami, who are strongly opposed to Hasina's government. So they and their supporters say this is a politically convenient way of getting rid of opposition leaders. The tribunal has been plagued with accusations of foul play and government influence. But the country's opinion is divided. In February, the sentence for Abdul Qadir Mullah was life in prison rather than death, which led to hundreds of thousands of people to protest in the capital demanding he be hanged. But last week's announcement of a death sentence for the next accused Jamaat leader has been chaos. Strikes, protests and violence continue to shake Bangladesh as supporters of those accused voice their anger. More sentences will be announced, and whatever they are, they will draw strong reactions from one side, if not the other. Addressing Bangladesh's past struggle for independence appears to be shaking its unity now. Jane Ferguson for Inside Story. Let's get the thoughts of our guests from Manchester in the UK. Salman Al-Azami, the son of former Jamaat-i-Islam leader Ghulam Azam, who is one of those standing trial. In our London studios, Tridib Deb, co-chairman of the Bangabandhu Lawyers Council. That's a group named after the first president of Bangladesh and head of the Awami League and father of the current Prime Minister. Welcome to both of you, gentlemen. Salman, let me start off with you. Can you update us on the situation on the ground right now, what it is that you are hearing about the rising violence?
Thank you for having me, Al-Jazeera. My concern and my heart is bleeding with the situation in Bangladesh, what is happening now. I think the current Awami League and its allies are bringing the country on the brink of a civil war. And what is happening now is just indiscriminate killing of people protesting. You can't run a democratic government and not let people protest things, and then you fire at them and killing people indiscriminately. So I'm really concerned with what's happening in Bangladesh. And if you understand that this is because of the war crimes trial, the so-called war crimes trial that's taking place in Bangladesh, which is under no international supervision, and it is a political trial by a political party against some people who opposed the independence, but they did not, and they categorically deny any involvement in any of the atrocities committed by the Pakistani army. Now, you don't get the Pakistani army here. You don't get the real perpetrators here. What you are doing, you're trying to transfer their crimes to the people who are politically opponents. Now, if you just look at the people who are being tried, they all are against the government. They are all opposition leaders, and this is a clear plan to divide the opposition, destroy the opposition, to stay in power. Because one of the leading figures of the Bangladeshi freedom fighters, Bangabandhu Sayedee, he's a decorated war hero. He categorically said that he will give witness that current Home Minister was involved in recruiting Razakars, who were the paramilitary military forces. But they are only trying, so this is very clear, they're only trying the people from the opposition who are politically opposed to it. And this ICT, the International Crimes Tribunal, has nothing international in it. All the international bodies, the Human Rights Watch, the Amnesty International, even Lord everybody, and the International Bar Association, and American Ambassador at Large of War Crimes, Stephen Gerrard, everyone said that this trial or this law does not give fair justice to the accused.
Okay, let me bring in Tridib here, because you've raised many points, and I'd like to work my way through them with Tridib. Is that a fair summation of what's happening as far as the tribunal is concerned, that it is just politically motivated? I mean, Salman was correct in saying that it's only opposition members who are facing trial.
No, that is what he was saying is not true at all. Bangladesh's history is known to everyone. Bangladesh had a serious trouble in 1971. 3 million people were killed. Almost 250,000 women were raped. And
it's funny,
to say that the Pakistani army was only responsible for the killing and rape of Bangladeshis is not true. There were local collaborators, and some of the collaborators who are standing on trial at the moment, they have history of standing against Bangladeshis who fought against the Pakistanis for their independence.
But there are members too in the ruling party who have been accused of committing crimes against their own. Why don't they stand trial?
It's nothing but a fabrication that these people were involved in crime against humanity in 1971. It is a ploy to change people's attitude. It's a ploy to divert people's attention from what is happening in Bangladesh, or what happened in Bangladesh rather. It's all a political ploy. People of Bangladesh want war criminals to be tried. Now, whatever judgment, whatever verdict the International Crimes Tribunal gives, that is entirely a legal process. That is entirely up to the tribunal. To create chaos in the country in the name of politics is a very sinister move. It's a divisive move.
It's so divisive, and as you can imagine, excuse me jumping in here, we've had incredible response to this story before we started recording this show on Facebook. And let me just talk you through what some of the people have said. Yawar Syed says they're trying to secure a better future for their country, but heavy Indian involvement in the verdict should be a matter of serious concern. Esarid Kamal Khan says skeletons should have been kept in the cupboard. It's not justice, it is revenge. This from Samir Ahmed. It is very unfortunate that people are being punished on false charges by an illegal tribunal, because at some point in history they had opposed division of a Muslim country. But Maya Kamat is adamant the wrongs have to be set right. Timing does not matter. It's a blot on the history of Bangladesh. And hardline radicals have to be hauled up. War criminals have to be punished. Salman, I mean, they make good points there. And let's pick up the bit about war criminals have to be punished. The country needs justice to move on, doesn't it?
Absolutely. They need justice. The victims and the families of 1971 war needs justice. And that has to be done through a fair trial. Otherwise, it will be travesty of justice. It will be just unfair to them. Now, if you see what's happening, this ICT. Now, your other interviewee has been saying that this is a court, and the court should go through the normal process. Yes, of course I understand. But first of all, this court has to be fair. Secondly, the court did give a verdict on the 5th of February and gave life sentence to one of the accused. Now, what happened after that? The pro-government people started demonstrating and saying that, no, we want only hang. Now, in that situation, we want only these people to be hanged. Now, this is not a trial. You are calling for people to be hanged.
No, please, for God's sake, let us have some honesty. People who have come out on the street, they have come out of their sheer love for Bangladesh. They have come out to support a process that has been pending for more than 4 decades. Now, in 1971, when Bangladesh went for a full-fledged war against Pakistan, please bear in mind, Bangladesh, which was the then East Pakistan, accounted for 56% of United Pakistan's population. The father of the current Prime Minister won
I get your
election
point.
in 1971 in an unprecedented, it was an unprecedented victory. And even with regard to the last general election, people voted the Awami League government in a manner which is unprecedented in the history of Bangladesh.
Okay, look, the government did say...
I understand where you're coming from.
Excuse me, gentlemen, the government's election pledge was that they would open up war crimes, and that is what the government has indeed done. But what I want to know from you, Tridib, is how, after so long, after nearly 40 years, how can these accused face a fair trial? Where's the evidence?
Look, where is the evidence? The evidence is everywhere. 3 million.
The forensic evidence?
Even if the forensic evidence and some of the statements made by some of these accused during the 1971 simply supported the Pakistani military.
Can you give an example of where people are saying this is crimes against humanity? Can you please give a statement where anyone gave a statement that go and kill and rape and set fire on houses?
Mr. Sayedee has been found to have committed serious war crimes. His evidence against him was given by a number of people, it's as
and some of the people that you brought as witnesses said that they did not actually agree with the prosecution. Some of the prosecution witnesses actually denied
the tribunal. Let me put one thing very very clearly. Whatever the tribunal has decided is something that you guys can appeal against. And in Bangladesh we have fair justice. We have a justice system which is free from any political interference. Now, if
that is very untrue, very untrue.
Mr. Salman, I know you're outraged by all of this, but members of Jamaat-i-Islami have been implicated. Many members have been implicated in some of this unbelievable violence.
No, I don't think they are known to be taking part in the violence. They were known to be opposing it politically. Now that has to be. I mean, if you just see after the independence. I mean, can I please finish, Mr. Tridib? If you see after the independence, the then government. Now that was the time when the war was very fresh in everybody's mind, and the Awami League government, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the founder president, under whose leadership the freedom fighting was taking place. They brought,
not an
they
army
brought
league, not
so many
army league
people under
situation.
trial. Can you please let me finish, Mr. Tridib? Please do not interfere. Let me finish. I'll let you speak as well.
Go on.
No, I have to tell the
they
truth.
brought
I'm here to tell
100,000
the truth.
people. 100,000 people were being tried, and then ultimately 700 something people were found guilty. Now, none of these people were even, there was not a single case against these people. And these people are now, after 40 years, suddenly become criminals. Why didn't Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his allies, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman,
I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to jump in here because I just want to remind you who the main players are in all of this fighting on the streets, this fighting between politicians and Bangladeshis themselves. Sheikh Hasina has been Prime Minister of Bangladesh since her Awami League won elections in 2008. She set up the War Crimes Tribunal. 2 years later, the fulfillment of a campaign pledge to put those responsible on trial. The leader of the opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party says it's pure politics. Khaleda Zia has accused Hasina of using the trial to go after her enemies. The religious Jamaat-i-Islami party is aligned with the BNP as part of the opposition. It's members of this party who are on trial. Then there are the Shabak protesters, named after the Dhaka neighborhood where the demonstrations began nearly a month ago. They've been demanding the death penalty for all war crimes defendants, and they've become a lightning rod for the opposition to religious parties. Salman, it's been very interesting talking about the Sabah there. Many of them are the youth of Bangladesh, and many of them are calling for the death penalty. Why is that? I mean, they weren't even alive when the war was being conducted.
I understand. I see. 1971 is a very sensitive situation, and everyone in Bangladesh are really, they really do want justice. So youths did come out, but who are the people who are leading it? If you see the people who are leading it, they are Awami League people. The leader of this movement, Imran Sarkar, he's a leading member of the Doctors Forum of Awami League, and the Awami League people are leading it. So it is, and no one else. If you see, even their ally, Jatiya Party, former President Ershad, is not supporting it. So this is not a public protest. This is a political protest.
What my friend is not understanding is that in a democracy like Bangladesh, or for that matter in any other democracy, there will be political parties. There will be calls for people to join in movements like the one that is happening in Bangladesh at the moment.
And what are they fighting for, particularly the youth? Is it a return for liberalism and secularism?
Yes. At the end of the day, we have to understand their psyche. They have come out spontaneously in support of the war trial. Bangladesh must deal with its past. 3 million people were killed, minorities were killed.
Absolutely, they must deal with the past with a proper way. Like, can I tell you just one thing? Why does let
me finish first. Let me finish first. No, let me finish first.
Okay, all right. Okay, finish.
Please give me a chance.
Right.
Please give me a chance to narrate my side of the story. It's not about our PNP, you see, or Jamaat-i-Islami. It's about our national identity. Do we support Bangladesh or not? Do we respect our flag or not? Do we support this process of healing or not? Now, Bangladeshis were killed indiscriminately. Local collaborators participated in mass killing and mass rape of Bangladeshi women. And after all these years, Bangladeshis have now got a chance to deal with its violent past.
Okay, let me bring Salman in again. Okay, you are dealing with your violent past, whether it's accepted or not. Salman, your father is in jail at the moment. He's been accused of committing crimes against humanity, peace, genocide, and war crimes in 1971. I don't know if you talked to him and what he says about everything that's happening, and possibly what his comments are about the fact that the army has been called back onto the streets.
Well, I have not been able to speak to him because he's in jail, but he has always denied vehemently against the accusations. Of course, they can't bring what they're trying to bring in the court is some of the statements where he supported the United Pakistan. And they're trying to put him in as the command responsibility, whereas he didn't hold a single position of any of the paramilitary forces, any government position in East Pakistan, and it's completely political, and they're just trying to commit judicial murder to this. Now, let me tell you one thing very clearly: we have been calling for international criminals court to take authority of this court. Why is the Bangladesh government afraid of it? Why don't they, if they think that these people
I think we have covered that point. What I would like to speak to you about is what's happened on the streets of Bangladesh today. The fact that the army has been called onto the streets for the first time in about 30 years. I mean, what do you make of that? Is the civilian government going to be concerned about that?
No, you see, if people have come out on the street spontaneously to show their solidarity to those brave sons and daughters of the soil who
I'm talking about the army. Why is the army being brought in? I mean, you have a country that has a history of coups, aren't you worried?
Are being, yes, we are. We're worried in the sense that we don't want a situation to deteriorate or any further. But please try to understand the situation that is on the ground zero at the moment. Law enforcement agencies, particularly the police, are coming under serious threats from some Jamaat hooligans. Even yesterday, members belonging to the Awami League were killed. Police are coming under attack. So in these circumstances, we need to make sure that there is law and order in the country.
Yes, and in fact, human rights groups are accusing both sides of violence. Now, the strikes in Bangladesh come at a time of growing labor unrest. In April last year, a labor rights activist campaigning for better conditions and higher wages was found tortured and killed. In June, tens of thousands of garment workers walked out. A week of protests led to the closing of hundreds of factories. And the plight of workers was highlighted in November when more than 100 died in a garment factory. Salman, this is really coming at a bad time for the country. It is a poor country, but it's no longer the basket case that people used to call it.
Yes, of course, it is a developing country, and we have a very good garments industry exporting goods all over the world. And now what you see that this government has failed miserably in many places. The governance has been miserable. You see the Hallmark, the Destiny, the Padma Bridge, all these scandals, the government, and of course the opposition have been calling for the neutral caretaker government to be implemented for the next general election. Now, the government wants to divert the situation and just bring something which has no present relevance. Of course, it has a very important sentimental. Let me finish, please. It has a very important sentimental feelings for the Bangladeshis, and I do want these war criminals, real war criminals, to be punished. But that cannot be done by a political government. See, just recently, because after the Shahbag protest, the Prime Minister changes the law and then tells in the court, tells to the court in the parliament that the court judges should listen to the public sentiment. Now, is this the way the court functions? Should the court listen to the public or listen to the law? Now, this is what's happening. This court has lost all its legitimacy, and we want these trials to be taken in an impartial manner, and then we'll see who is guilty. No problem.
You see,
I suppose what that's raising is, and if we had more time, is the question of why the country is so divided after 40 years of independence. Thank you so much to both of my very passionate guests for talking to us. From Manchester, Salman Al-Azami, and from London, Tridib Deb. And for you not watching the show, don't forget that you can find this program and many more by logging onto our website. That's aljazeera.com. Why not leave us your comments there as well. Thanks very much for watching Inside Story. Goodbye for now.